Welcome. Happy Friday to the My Amazon Guy podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stephen Pope, and today is Ask Me Anything Friday. Super excited to talk to you. There are like 30 questions already in queue, and we'll dive right in. So I'm really excited. I've been reading and doing a bunch of visionary stuff and core value stuff and really trying to upgrade my Amazon Guy. We have a couple of graphics that are brand new. I'm going to showcase them in our intro here just to kind of chat about them. It's kind of fun to do it. So I'm going to share my screen here. So moments ago, I just loaded this to my website. This is the new graphic to explain the My Amazon Guy process. And in here, basically right when we start an account, we do an onboarding survey, we do a kickoff call, do a competitor analysis, and audit the account. So our process includes managing PPC, catalog, SEO, and design, which then translates to traffic, conversion, and sales growth. So super excited to get that into a single graphic. This is the entire My Amazon Guy business model, and trying to simplify this down, trying to explain how our process works. This is what we represent. This is who we are. One of the other cool things is I narrowed down our core values as well. These are our core 5 values. Let's see if I can zoom in on this. So impatience, growth, tech savvy, strategic communication, and go extra mile. These are the sort of people we like to hire. This is what represents the employees at My Amazon Guy. So I figured I'd share this, see what you guys think. Would love to hear your feedback. What do you think about the core values that we've just talked about? What do you think about the core process that I just demonstrated here? Always loving to hear feedback from people that are avid fans of My Amazon Guy. With that in mind, we're going to start and dive right into our questions. I'm going to prioritize member questions whenever possible. It is a little bit difficult for me to navigate the questions when I try and go to member questions first, but I'm going to do my best with this. If I miss a question from you, please feel free to re-ask it. You can't post a URL. I do have those blocked, but if you're a member, I need to remember to do this. John, when you rewatch this, can you enable us an auto approve on anybody that's a member of the channel? That way they can comment with URLs. Appreciate you doing that to help me out, John. All right, let's dive in. Old Hickory says, for a new client's product with over 1,000 organic keywords, do you automatically go to phase 2 or do you go through phase 1 anyway? What factors would cause you to jump to phase 2 right away? So for those that don't know what our SEO process is, we have a 3-phase approach, and you can kind of see it demonstrated here. Phase 1, it's all about mass indexing. How many keywords can we get the product to show up for? Phase 2 is all about incremental indexing. And the answer to your question, Old Hickory, we will frequently still run phase 1, but we might accelerate into phase 2 much faster when somebody's got 1,000 keywords. From our experience, the search term field, generally speaking, before somebody onboards with My Amazon Guy, is generally not optimized. They might have like 50 characters, 100 characters in there. They haven't used an SEO tool before. So we still run through phase 1 generally. Now, if it's already well optimized, yeah, we could probably accelerate it, go straight into phase 2. And that's where we incrementally index. So kind of explaining our phase 2, we call it the pink word update. So inside of Amazon, it shows you words that have already been used in your front end copy, your title, your bullets, or otherwise. And you can remove these safely to focus on the other words, make room for incremental spacing in your search term field. Once you've got to a certain point where you've got like 50 keywords in ranks 20 through 50, that's the strike zone update. You can then go to phase 3. And in the strike zone, these are words that are in ranks 20 through 50, ready to upgrade. And then this is where we throw out the rules of phase 1 and 2, and we're hyper focused on just words in ranks 20 through 50 with the goal to matriculate them to the top ranks through 1 through 10. I had a client ask me the other day what the word matriculate meant, and I looked in the dictionary and realized I might be using that word very oddly, because it's kind of like matriculating through your educational degree. But I still like to use that word, and I'm going to continue using it. But essentially what I mean by that, for anybody thrown off, is you're upgrading from ranks 20 through 50 to ranks 1 through 10, matriculating them, growing, and finishing the job, so to speak. So So that's what we do there. All right, so let's go to the next question from a member, also from Hickory. A 48-hour episode, maybe, but my Amazon account manager has vanished. So what's the steps you take to get ASINs created by regular Seller Central for a product without UPCs or EANs to sidestep unnecessary SC pushback? Go ahead and grab some UPCs. If you haven't already purchased from the GS1, you can maybe still get away with buying these from eBay. Retired UPCs, there's nothing technically wrong with that. Amazon's policies are kind of evolving a little bit right now. They want you to buy from the GS1. Once you buy from the GS1 one time, you will have to buy from them permanently ongoing. So, but by and large, I wouldn't ever try and load a listing without a code because the data problems exasperate pretty badly. You will have so many data problems that exist or are created by trying to load a product by using a UPC exemption. It's totally not worth it. I've done coaching calls where people will pay me $500 to get on a call with me for 30 minutes, and they have a data problem where it's not showing up with like their title or their bullets or whatever. And I fixed the problem in 5 minutes by simply loading a UPC code, and they paid me $500 to do this. Like this is amazing advice I'm giving out for free right now. Load UPCs to your products, guys. It's a really big deal. But if you do want to pay $500 to hear the same advice, you can always book a coaching call with me or some of my staff at myamazonguy.com. Just click on that book a coaching call button. We got various different people you can talk to, tactics and problems with Dustin, Vendor Central. Jason's our Vendor Central expert, and listing problems. We go to Saban with that, with a more cost-effective method if you want to go that route. So give us a whirl over at myamazonguy.com. Jeffrey says, ad campaign, $200 budget with 10 keywords, 5 perform well, 5 are poor. What's the difference between moving the good words to their own campaigns versus just lowering the bid on the poor performers? So generally speaking, Amazon knows which words are good and bad, and they're going to give impression counts for your budget with priority to the words that they're going to make money on. So it makes a lot of sense to separate good and bad keywords into their own campaigns, not just by bid modification, but by also isolating the keyword strategies. So this is a segmentation question, and it's not necessarily like something you would do as a beginner. It's a very advanced technique to segment campaigns further. You'll get optimal incremental gains. They're nominal. They're not going to be like night and day gains, but they'll be noticeable. And so that's why you would want to segment those out. Good morning to you too, Kevin. Appreciate you being a fan. Saw your emails this week, and I know you've been in touch with my father, Dan Pope. Let's go to the next member question from Cool Peeps. Hi, Steven. Great seeing you. QQ. Amazon invited me to the Amazon Launchpad program. Is it worth the money? 5% of revenue? Hell no. Launchpad program sucks bad. I do not recommend. Every person I've ever talked to who's done it is like, they do a ton of work in like 1 month, and then they ghost you and don't do jack crap for like 11 months. So you're paying 5% of revenue for nothing, month 2 through 12, essentially. And it's a hardcore contract. Like you can't get out of it. So I'm a direct competitor. I'm biased. I don't want you to sign up for the Launchpad program because I think you should hire us instead. We'll do better work for that 5% of revenue for that cost. There is one benefit that we can't give you that the Launchpad does have, and that is putting video inside of your A+ content. But this is such a small perk. It is a perk, but it's not going to like make the needle move. They're not going to go in there and build your PPC campaigns for you, right? Like they're not going to do a bunch of structural work. So I do not recommend the Launchpad program. I do not think it's worth it. And I'm very familiar with that program. I think we've had this client for 3 years. They launched in Launchpad for a year, couldn't get past like $2,000 a month in growth. They hired us, and within, I want to say it was 60 days, we got these guys to like 90,000. I'm sorry, not 90,000, to like 30,000 in monthly sales. And so this is that client right here, we and me. We got this guy a vanity URL, amazon.com/we. Super cool, by the way. And he'd be cool with me mentioning him on the podcast. He's given us public testimony in the past. And they sell some We Connect cards. So if you're trying to get some conversation starters, cool product. We're big fans, obviously. We've been working with them for about 3 years now. And so there's just a lot of cool things. These guys did have the Launchpad program before they engaged us, and they'll tell you firsthand they would recommend us over a Launchpad any day of the week. All right. Next question here. My inventory restriction is getting worse. the restock limit is decreasing. By the way, that could have everything to do with Amazon and nothing to do with you. So if you're listening to this and you're like, my IPI score went up 5 points, but my restock limit went down 5,000 units, it's not you. They're out of room at Amazon. They are supply chain complete wreck right now. And this is an ongoing problem that we see all the time. So right now, between probably for the next 2 years, I think we're going to see supply chain status quo with lots of challenges, lots of problems. Amazon's out of space. 3PLs are a wreck. Got to pay 24 grand to get a 40-foot container out of China. Just the list goes on. Tons and tons of problems. So highly recommend that you try and keep some inventory on hand with your own 3PL in your own warehouse and just navigate the FBA waters as best you can. Wow, awesome. Thank you, Stephen. You're very welcome, cool peeps. And for misspellings in Helium-10, Cerebro found words like charisma, but on misspellinator, this doesn't even show as a top misspelling and lists others. What tool do you determine misspellings? We use all of the above. So I would say, test it out, see what happens. If you can put it into your keyword section and then index for it, that's a fantastic sign. The ability to show up for a misspelling is incremental sales for you. And definitely recommend it. Now, a word like charisma, that is a very common misspelling, if you will, or typo, but it's also very difficult to rank for at the same time. So you got to be picky on which misspellings you chase. I don't know if that's a good example or not, but by and large, just test it, see what happens, navigate that well. Got a new member coming in from Studio 1122. Thanks for joining the channel and being a member. I will prioritize member questions whenever I can. All right, so that's our member question queue. I'm going to scroll to the top here and go from oldest to newest now. David Scott asks, when creating a listing with variations, 2 colors, do I edit each ASIN with different keywords, descriptions, or just the parent ASIN? Photos, I understand. I would to reflect it. So, David, you get some incremental gains from doing some additional variation work. Yes. If it's just a color variation, this is very minor, though. Probably not going to move the needle much. But yes, I would do the load of the keyword and the descriptions to the child level. Anything you don't load to the child will come from the parent. And I usually like to do parent SKUs with like base title and then put the color in parentheses at the end. That is my favorite way to optimize that. And so I'd recommend it, but a color variation probably won't see a very big gain from having unique copy. So on your list of priorities, this one should be low. Naman asks, what are the key factors Amazon uses to rank a listing organically? Let me pull up my big, giant SEO presentation that I give from time to time. I've done this. I've been broadcasted at the Helium-10 Elites. I've also done this with Jungle Scouts as well as AMZ Scout. This is probably my favorite presentation that I give. And so in here, there is a particular slide that I refer to. I'm looking down the list to see if I can find it. This is it. All right. So right here, this chart explains what ranking factors are used according to the A9 algorithm update in 2020. We don't have any 2021 algorithm update percentages, so it could have shifted somewhat from this particular time shot. But in here, you can see that the biggest factors, 20% apiece, organic sales and 180-day sales. So recency on sales has the biggest impact, as well as coming in from an organic keyword. Review counts, pretty sizable impact, right around 16%. Conversion rates, 15%. So if you've got like a 20% conversion rate, that would be exceptional. If you got a 5% conversion rate, you're below average. Offsite sales, so you're driving some external traffic, around 7%. Click-through rate. So if your click-through rate in your category averages 0.3, but your click-through rate is 0.2, that's a problem. You got a problem with your main photo. Number one thing you can do to improve click-through rate is improve the photo. And you can run an A/B test using PickFu. It's my favorite way to do it. PickFu, you can go over to pickfu.com/my Amazon guy to get a 50% off promo code. And super fast and easy to use it. Put in 2 main photos, see what the fans say, and see what happens. And that'll improve your click-through rate. PPC sales coming in at 5%. Sales internal, which I don't know how they diagnose that. I can't remember exactly. Impressions and seller authority. So if you're spending a lot on advertising, you're getting impressions, that's going to help you. That's going to be a big PPC impact. But PPC sales themselves only 5%. So those are the factors. Hopefully that's helpful. I do find those to be pretty accurate. Do we need to run PPC to keep organic ranking? Yes, 100%. Proof and case in point is my Amazon product that I was selling called I'm not social distancing. I'm not drinking alone. I'm social distancing. I'm trying to talk while I write a URL into the box at the same time. That went well. So if we go over to the listing, I clicked the wrong one. So let's go to the right one. So this one is the listing. I've had about 6 or so videos where I talk about being banned from advertising back in February, right after Valentine's Day was when the ban went into effect. And the moment this listing got banned from ads, my organic ranking tanked, like hardcore tanked. I was organic ranked #1 for the keyword wine glass. And then following that, I'm at like rank 70 now. And so without PPC, you will lose organic ranking 100%. Proof in the pudding right here. Great use case example. Does Amazon change PPC bids during different time slots based on search volume? Probably, but we don't know for sure. I would expect that they do. They personalize that. They're trying to make the most money possible whenever they can get a conversion. It's really important to them. Anthony Fu says, is having your friends vote the helpful button considered review manipulation? Probably a little bit. I would say yes. Probably not going to get you in trouble, though. They used to have a downvote button on reviews, and you used to be able to game the system and try and push negative reviews down. That's no longer, you can't do that at all. They got rid of that capacity. There are still some black hat firms out there that claim they can re-rank the order of reviews. Those are definitely 100% black hat. I would stay clear of that. But if you had a couple people come in and hit the upvote button, you probably wouldn't see any impact or benefit from it. So that's why it's not really a big deal. Best marketplaces aside from North America ones to sell in. So in order of operation, go US, Canada. Canada will do about 7% of your US sales from my experience. Then go to Germany. Germany will do 20% of your US sales. It's a sizable marketplace. UK probably do about 7% or 5%, depending on the type of product. A little bit weaker. That's why I like to do Canada before I go over to Europe. And then following that, it's pretty much loosey-goosey 2%ers. Australia, Spain, Italy, and the likes. Brazil, maybe up and coming. Who knows? We'll see. Japan, maybe. Singapore, probably not yet. All of those other countries are going to be sub 1 or 2%ers. So until you've got those 4 core ones done, US, Canada, Germany, and the UK, I wouldn't touch the other ones unless you're literally from those countries. Do you have any answer key that you can plug on the 200 words to avoid for pesticides? We have a giant list. I don't think we've released it publicly. Maybe we should. But basically anything that's antimicrobial, the word anti is your #1 thing to avoid. And then mentioning any pesticide terms obviously are no-goes. Definitely would avoid that. All right, let's go to David Scott. Question: if I sell a brand item, such as a calendar, and bundle it with something else or my brand item, should I use a new UPC code? And who do I put as the brand manufacturer on the listing? You're awesome. Well, you're awesome, David Scott. And great Scott, as my father would say. We used to watch Back to the Future and had a little fun with it. You ever have like a fatherhood saying back in your childhood where they say something and just as a kid, you're just enamored with it? Well, whenever I had a bad day in school, high school, college, I'd call up Pops and be like, do the voice. And he'd be like, gotta go 88 miles per hour in his Doc Scott voice. I can't even do it justice. Yeah, great Scott. That's what triggered that one. So and by the way, if you want to do it, you want to go on a sales call with my dad, just go over to myamazonguy.com. You can talk to him and ask him to do the voice. He'll know what you're asking for. Just be like, yeah, Steven told me you have a great Scott voice. So let's hear it. He'll do it for you. So I would recommend using a new UPC for sure, Mr. Scott. And you would just put your own brand name and manufacturer on it. I highly recommend you do that because you then can create A+ content. If you don't have a trademark yet, highly recommend you do that as well. We sell trademarks like hotcakes and candy. We had an issue with the website integrating with PayPal, so we switched over to Stripe. We'll now take credit card payments. So if anybody had a trouble trying to purchase a trademark from us in the last week, we've shifted our tech over. Just click that start my trademark registration button. It'll pop up, ask you a bunch of info. I would recommend you get a word trademark. This service, 7 business days to finish your trademark. Within 7 days, finish the brand registry, that is. We'll have a 1 business day turnaround to give you your trademark serial number. Super speedy, quick. And we even have a couple testimonials. You guys literally did it for me in an hour and a half. Wow. Thanks again. And we'll do it for you too if you don't have a trademark. Check it out. What's the best tip for product research? So number 1 tip I'm going to give you is going to go against the grain here. Start selling a product you understand and know. So for example, if I was going to sell a toothbrush, but I'm not a dentist, and I'm going to try and figure out what my target market is, and I'm going to try and sell this toothbrush to anybody with teeth, I'm in a world of pain that's going to come. That's not going to work out. But because I was a national chess player as a kid, you better believe I could sell the heck out of a chess set, a clock, or chess pieces. I would know everything there is about those chess pieces. So the number 1 thing you need to do with product research is sell an item you understand. Number 2, back up the data, back up your selection with the data. So you go into a tool like Helium 10, Jungle Scout, many other tools out there as well. And you can use them to figure out what the impression counts are, how many competitors. And I would recommend sticking to what you understand and know, bucking the data. If you understand the product, you know you can go to market with a better product because you understand it. By all means, forget the data at that point. But if you're unsure and you've got like 3 product ideas and you're trying to figure out which one to go with, you understand all 3 products because you know and use them, then use the data to select and narrow it down from there. Anthony Fu says, I got 2 new reviews today, but my total review count only went up by 1. This is the 3rd time this has happened to me. Is this common? Yeah, review data collection's a little janky, I would say. Maybe it's just like a delay on being counted or registered. Maybe control F5 the page, see if it changes. But based on the fact that you've been monitoring this and you've seen it before, that is a little weird. And any question you were to file a ticket on with this, they'd probably just come back with some copy pasted garbage and probably not give you an answer to it. Obviously, not a lot you can do about it. But if you got low review counts, I can understand why you're concerned about it. I don't really have a good idea for you on this one, though. Brett says, hi, Steven. I know I can't put brand names in backend search terms or alt text, but what about book titles? I've seen many competitors do this. Is this within Amazon TOS? So the trademark is the key here. If they have a trademark on their book title, so for example, I've been reading a lot of books like Traction and Who and all these kinds of things. If I were to put one of the trademark phrases in one of those books, like top grading, for example, that's a trademark phrase. If you put that into a search term, that might trigger a robot to say, hey, that's a trademark search term. You're not supposed to do that. I'm going to yank your listing. That's what you're worried about. It's not the brand name, it's the trademark. So regardless of what's in the book title, if they have a trademarked phrase, that's what you want to avoid. Hi, I just wanted to know if you have parcels shrieked wrap. I've been doing that for my products because of the costs. I've been considering on not doing it anymore. Any thoughts? So shrink wrapping parcels, I would say do it for your LTL shipments, but I don't think it's necessary for like a case pack going into Amazon. I don't think that'll be a problem at all. All right. So Thomas says, to structure the title, would you recommend one of the following characters, a hyphen, or a railroad track here? And I would say the railroad track is prohibited by terms and conditions. That would have been my choice, though. But because of the new terms and conditions that came out, I want to say 6 or 8 months ago or something like that, I would go with the hyphen. Editorial reviews overrated. Yeah, I think they're too costly, too complicated, and they don't rotate enough in your favor. Obviously, if you get one on a big term, then you're in a way better shape. But it's a lot of effort for very minimal return. So yes, I think they're overrated because of that. Happy Friday to you too, as well, Thomas. We have a top product in our category, and it has 6 variations. We want to split the listing into 2 variations. How would we do this? Would the second listing have a good ranking like the first? Yes, it would. So what you're going to want to do is you want to make sure that the 3 variations that you're kicking out, that at least one of those 3 has a good power ranking behind it. So for example, let's say in the 6 listings, you've got one SKU that sells 100 units a day, and the second SKU sells 50 units a day. Well, make sure that you, and that's the second best one. Make sure that you have the second best one leading the charge on that second parentage. That's going to be your fundamental key there. And if you do that, you'll be in better shape. I don't know. Let's see the webcam position here. I kind of like being a little bit higher up, but then I'm cutting off my side. What do you do? So yes, you're going to load a flat template file, create the second parentage, and then reassociate 3 of the child SKUs to that second parent. And then you're going to be able to see that the reviews will split. In many categories, reviews don't combine anymore on parentage. So, test it out, see what happens in your category so you kind of know what to expect. Name It says, Stephen Pope, you're a great man, master in fulfillment by Amazon. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Trushar says, hi, how do I stop Amazon bots from taking text from my listing images and auto-populating listing features incorrectly? Well, trademark your phrase, your brand name, load into the brand registry and file tickets. That would be the number one recommendation I would give. So your listing images, that's really weird. I'd love to see how that works in a real world example. For example, I have a size in my images, but now the listings has a different size field populated. The unique information was taken from the images. I wonder if somebody from the catalog team looked at your images and made that change themselves. I don't think that's a robot change. I think that's probably a manual change by the catalog team. That'd be my best guess. You mentioned that you can't seem to get the information changed even after you send a ticket to brand registry. I would, if you have a brand registry listing, then it's just about filing ticket after ticket, do a full template upload, make sure you load the UPC, and just, squeaky wheel gets the oil on this one for sure. So I'd recommend you just don't give up on this one. Worst comes to worst, you could always hire us for a quick phone call. We could look at it, see if there's something you're missing. I would recommend booking a coaching call with Saban on catalog issues, and he can help you out with that. But we have pretty much a 100% success rate getting any detail page change made. Very rare we wouldn't be able to do it. J20 says, I use my brand name on Amazon Canada and US, all caps. Is it better to trademark it in all caps or in proper case? I would trademark it how you use it. So if you've already been using an all caps brand name, there's your answer. Do a trademark with all caps. And if you were just launching a new product, a new listing, I think proper case is always the way to go. But how you're using it, you need to match like for like. If you were to file a trademark with proper case, but your brand name is in all caps on Amazon, your A+ content will not display. It's a problem. So you're going to have a problem with having to change the brand name. So just save yourself some trouble there. I would put it in all caps. You have said that PPC is rather far down on the list in the A9 algorithm update of ranking. However, it seems to be your main go-to to rank. Well, I can understand why you're ascertaining that, because we do it all at the same time, right? So like if we look at the optimization list, title, image, 6 photos, video, PPC, A+ content, it all needs to be done simultaneously. If you don't do PPC, you can't be found to begin with. It's part of a launch strategy. And we also use PPC to help with our SEO strategy. But once you're up and running, once you're indexed, SEO can then take a life of its own and isn't reliant upon PPC. So it just depends on the phase that you're in. But yes, you're making an acute observation there. All right. Can you elaborate on how PPC can push you higher in ranking without breaking the bank? Well, the more selective you get with your impression counts on a specific keyword. So, I would spend 11% of every dollar you make gross sales on Amazon back into PPC. And if you do that, that's going to keep you incrementally growing on the platform. Now, mind you, that's the average. Some of you are going to need to spend 15%. Others can get away with spending less than 11, but 11% is the target. Anybody underspending on ads, you're leaving sales on the table, essentially. And when you spend money on ads, you will increase your organic keywords. We've shown that time and time again. It's really, really important. All right. Cool Peep says, we used your trademark service, got a trademark. Thank you. You're very welcome. What is the process of changing to the new brand? How do I tackle it? I heard it's hard to change the brand name. It's extraordinarily difficult right now. That's why we made a service for changing the brand name. And you can find it over on My Amazon Guide. Go to Services, Listing Optimization, Amazon Brand Name Changes. We are expensive to make this happen, $1,000 for up to 10 ASINs. And what we do is we file a bunch of tickets, we do a bunch of data loads, and we phone call to Amazon until we get it to change for you. For some people, we'll get it done in like 3 days, but for many, it takes weeks to get this to go through. It's very, very difficult. We have a $500 money back guarantee, so we're pretty confident in this service. We can do it for you. So feel free to check us out if you need help on that. But we did a really big series with Adam Heist where we kind of talked through what we did. So if you just type into Google Adam Heist, my Amazon guy, you'll see how we helped him change his brand name. He did hire us, though, to make it happen. Kenneth says, hello back to you. I can no longer get the first name, last name, address for my customers in Amazon anymore. That's correct. I used to be able to do that, run ads on Facebook. Not possible anymore. That is correct. You can still get the info through an API, but I bet they're going to close the loop on that this year as well. They really don't want you marketing the customers outside of the portal. Now, the good news is that Amazon has loaded some new Seller Central advertising techniques. So if you haven't been doing external advertising inside of Seller Central, this is an opportunity for you to start doing that. So if I go into my own advertising campaign manager, I'll share my screen on this. If you hit create campaign, you can see sponsored display right here. Hit continue on that. And in the options within this targeting, there's a bunch of things you can target. You can target products, you can target audiences, and you can bid for page visits or conversions. And I think I actually have to select some things to show you some of the targeting. So I'm just going to pick a product here. Let's scroll down. Let's do sisters. So in here, if I wanted to target a particular offsite category, we could target audiences and do views remarketing. So these are people that have viewed the product previously on Amazon. They leave Amazon. You can follow them on Facebook or other platforms. You can do searches. These are people who've searched for keywords relevant to our advertised product. This can show off of Amazon and point them into Amazon. Previous purchasers who've purchased other advertised products, following them off Amazon yet again. But if we select the views remarketing and scroll down, under the audience type, you have Amazon audiences. This is a new feature. If you haven't checked this out, I highly recommend it. And in here, you can target life events like new parent. If you sell baby products, that's a great one to hit to try and do that. So there's just a lot of new retargeting off Amazon platform changes that if you're trying to do Facebook and you haven't done these things yet, I'd highly recommend you check it out. A lot of opportunity there. All right, Studio 11, thanks for being a member. You have 13 products for Amazon. Since I'm a new seller, how many of each product should I have available for shipping to Amazon? Will I be limited to 200 total or 200 per product listing? So they did scrap the 200 count. You no longer can only send in only 200. They're now capping you at the account level, not on the SKU level. So the shipping restrictions will prevent you from sending in a certain unit count on the account. On new accounts, the number is a floating target. It's all over the place. So there's not a specific number I can give you. But on current accounts, you can see what your current score is by going to your Manage FBA Shipments page, which I'm going to pull up here. So in here, if you look at the restock limits, you can see right here, I have an extra right around 3,000 units I can ship in. But my storage volume, they're giving me unlimited. So they're not capping me on the amount of storage I can store, but they are capping me on the amount I can ship in. And so your IPI score has the number one factor on this. I'm going to take off the questions because you can't quite see everything here. So there's the standard storage size. There's the storage volume. These are two separate metrics. Very confusing, especially to new sellers, and problematic. So yeah, you could ship in 1,000 units on a new account, probably, and get okay with it. Just be a little conservative. Maybe put some into a 3PL when you first start out, just in case. But if you're launching going into Q4, might be able to get away with that. All right, we're going to prioritize some more member questions here. I'm about to launch 3 SKUs coming out the gate with a heavy restocking limit for a current SKU. What's your counsel and wisdom on product launches in this world? Well, you don't want to give up space to new product at the cost of other product that's already working. So the question is do you have a SKU that's underperforming that you should terminate or switch from FBA to FBM potentially? Do you have any overstock SKUs that you need to liquidate, run a sale, ship out, or donate to charity? Those are the questions I would ask. Maybe you need to do your product launch FBM instead of FBA. That might also be the solution there. Nathan Clark says, my bullet points just randomly disappeared on my listing. Any thoughts? Go check the edit page of your detail page. If it's also blank there, then you just simply need to reload it. If it's blank on the front end, but not blank on the back end, you just need to file a ticket and ask them to use your seller contribution. Should show back up. The other possibility, maybe you have a duplicate SKU. Maybe you loaded the data to one SKU, but not the other, and Amazon's using the blank data. Just backfill it in there. That'll solve the problem. Or maybe somebody else has loaded data to your listing from another account and it's conflicting with your own data. That could also be one of the challenges. Getting brand registered, if you haven't done that, a very good solution to that problem in that last scenario. Jeffrey Vallon says, when sending a softcover book to FBA, do you recommend some sort of prep for protection? Does Amazon protect softcover books when they ship it out? This one I could go either way on. They're 100% absolutely going to ship your books in a padded envelope. So if you want to put a little cover over the top of it, that is not a bad idea because nobody wants to receive a bent up book. But you can probably get away with not doing it if you don't want to. But I would. Obviously every penny counts with books, especially low margin business. You're gonna have to pay a little extra to do that. But yeah, I mean, if you're gonna put a book in there, I mean, look how fast this thing could get bent. Guy pulling it out of the bin location chucks it on the conveyor belt, right? Or puts it in the bin. Page could get torn. Page could, get bent. So, you got to make a decision on that, what you want to do there. Studio 11 says, thank you. You're very welcome. Old Hickory, any tool recommendations for scraping high resolution images URLs off of Amazon? It seems the Keepa trick doesn't give us the top high res image URLs. That's a good one. I usually right click download myself and then open image in a new tab. That's generally how I do it. You could also try the category listings export. I don't know if that does high res images off the top of my head, but I would try that first. If you don't know what the category listings export is, I have a video on it and it can be very helpful for you. So I'll post that in the chat. So here is the video, Old Hickory on high res image download. Try this. I just put that in the chat for you. Check that out. Do you offer a service to review your listings prior to listing on Amazon? So yeah, that would definitely be a coaching call. So if you want us to go in there and see like what we think about them, you could also post an ASIN in our chat. We'd be happy to do a live review if you feel comfortable doing that publicly. But the ASIN does have to be live to do that. If you want a more private setting, coaching call is definitely where it's out. I would recommend booking Jason to do some listing merchandising optimization review with you. Check that out. Definitely recommend it. And I think that's all the member questions. So I'm going to scroll back up, see where we left off with that. So fake reviews. Okay. Tian says, me and my friend are selling on the same listing. He is the listing owner. I'm selling under him. Is that a way he can transfer the listing to me so I can have owner and he sells under me? So if either one of you file a brand registry, the answer to this is no. If there's not a trademark in question, he could simply delete his data and you'll become the seller of record. And then he could re-show up. That's how I would do that. How to fight fake reviews from competitors. Well, there's really no proactive measure here, unfortunately. Yes, this definitely happens, unfortunately. You're going to have to prove and try and remove the product review. About a 3% success chance of getting product reviews removed, even in really good use cases. We had one that came in, I think it was yesterday or the day before. I ended up posting this on our community channel page. If you guys haven't checked out our community page, we post a bunch of stuff there. For example, I put my 5 top business books. So I was asked yesterday what my 5, what books I recommend. Traction, number 1, without a doubt. I have that on my desk still. I'm still reflecting on it, and I've read it twice. Highly recommend that. So here's why, Patrick. This is the image for you here. So this is an example. It's really hard to see this, unfortunately. I don't know if I can blow this up or not. Looks like I can. Here we go. So here is proof that you can't get negative product reviews removed, even when they're fake and even when they're not verified reviews, right? So this person wrote, scary. Thought I was ordering a huge monkey, but when the package arrived, holes cut into it. The old man was in the box. I don't get this reference at all. Like, I don't know if this is a joke. I don't know if this is a movie reference. Nothing. We've been trying to remove this product review for one of our clients, and here you can see the result of that. We've investigated the review, scary for giant stuffed monkey. I think I know what it is. There's an actual picture of the guy in the image next to the monkey, and that's what this references to. Now I remember the product in question, and they're like, yeah, we're not going to remove that. So this is proof it's ridiculously difficult to remove product reviews. We do have a guide on this. Whenever you're trying to find something and see if there's a guide on something, you type in my Amazon guide plus whatever. So in this case, I'm going to type into Google here, product review removal guide, and see what comes up in Google. You can see me doing this in real time here. So how to remove negative product reviews. There's a video right there for you. And we also have this nice guide with some pre-populated things. Check it out. Pretty accurate 3 to 5% review removal rate though. And we give you ideas on how to chop that up. So give that a whirl. All right, let's go to the next question. Do I have to get a website for the trademark process? Nope, you do not. You just need to have some product image with a cell phone shot of the brand name affixed to the item, or that's for a word mark, or if you want to do a design mark, I don't recommend design marks, but if you don't have the product yet, a design mark is just a logo. That's it. It can be graphically designed. But yeah, no website needed. What is the most beneficial data you use from brand analytics? I would say age and gender. So for example, there was a product that we were helping a client with, was one of the big aggregators, in fact, and it was kind of one of those blow torches that you make use in the kitchen, creme brulee kind of thing. And I thought for sure this was a target demographic for women. And when we looked at the brand analytics, 65% men over the age of 50 were the number one target demographic. And I'm like, what? Why is that the case? And I looked at all the competitor data, and it turned out that the competitors were showcasing cigars being lit with these things. And so I came up with a hypothesis that for the most part, this was used by wannabe chefs, and it was also used by second time, third time divorced men trying to impress a date. And they also like to smoke cigars after their date. And so they would use the blowtorch, cook the woman a meal, and then smoke a cigar after. So this narrative that we just told is market demographic targeting, gives you the ability to really understand how to navigate the marketing message. So that demographic I just gave you is very different than the stay-at-home mom cook, right? And so I advised that client to change all the images and the focus point and show a cigar being lit and all that good stuff. And the idea here is to improve the click-through rate, improve the conversion, which allows for sales growth. So I would say gender and age would be the most beneficial on the brand analytics. Coming in, a couple of questions coming in from LinkedIn. John Rice says, how do new Google search algorithms impact how we list products on Amazon? Well, Amazon is still king in Google. And so if Google ever penalizes Amazon, that could be a problem. I'd say the number one tip I'd give you, John, is whenever you make the title of a listing, to put a hyphen after the first 5 words of the title. That will set the canonical URL of the Amazon listing inside of Google. Let's see if we can demonstrate this. So I got to find a product that's following this procedure. Let me just type in social distancing wine glass monster into Google here. Let's see if this works. So I did not use the hyphen on this one. So here's an example of the canonical URL being set by Google by itself, drinking social distancing stemless monster. So that's what the canonical URL looks like in Google when you don't use the hyphen. Okay, let's see if I can find one of my products where I do use the hyphen, not that one. Let's try another one. Well, I know I use it on some of my newer products. Let me think some of my newer products might be under maybe the wine aerobics one. Here we go. Wine aerobics and repeat wine glass. I put 6 words. All right. Let's see what this one shows up. So let's just type in this product into Google. And notice how I don't necessarily 100% care if I get the canonical URL. I think it's a good idea, but it's not really that impactful. So in here, you can see this particular item that I just tried to search for did not show up. So I'm gonna take away some of the product title here. So let's try that. Wine aerobics and repeat wine glass. Okay. So we click on it. Here is my item. We just did the same search. Here is the canonical URL. Wine aerobics repeat glass coworker. So the word coworker doesn't show up until over here. So because I didn't put the hyphen right after the 5th word, it did not set the canonical URL. Still decent, pretty decent canonical URL right there. But that's where you would need to think about Google. To give you an example. Do you know when the date will be for the IPI score for Q4? So you have 2 windows for this. That is the middle of the quarter and the end of the quarter. So this is not specific to Q4, but any quarter, if you have an IPI score above the threshold, middle of the quarter, you're good. End of the quarter, you're good. So for example, Q4 starts October 1st. So if on September 30th, you were above the IPI score, you would be set. Now, I believe last year they pushed the date up a little bit, but I don't remember off the top of my head. And if they do that, then it'll probably be like an extra 15 days potentially, maybe 30. But I wouldn't, if it was going to be done earlier than that, I think we would know by now. They would have made an announcement. So I think probably mid-September, late September is probably the cutoff for that. Would be my guess. All right, so let's go to Isaiah. I know you love Mexican Coke. You can see one above me right there. Let's see. There it is. There's the Coke. Have you ever looked into selling it on Amazon? There's an opportunity there. No, I haven't, because I'd have to have a wholesale pallet delivered from Mexico. I have literally no idea how to get a hold of Coca-Cola in Mexico. Not my forte. And second, oh my goodness, that's going to be a heavy shipment, right? Like it would cost more to ship Mexican Coke than the actual bottle is worth, right? Like you can go to Costco or Sam's Club or wherever and get these things for under $1 per glass, right? So if I wanted to sell a 24 pack of Mexican Coke, it would cost me like $20 to ship that. And then that doesn't account for damages. We're talking super heavy, man. Like these are like really, really heavy glass plus the liquid. Shipping liquids, that is a low margin business. So would not be easy for me to pull off, unfortunately. But great idea. And quite frankly, I would love to ship a pallet of that stuff out of Mexico to my house. Haven't figured out how to do that. Raisin says, what is your PPC strategy on a new launch? So what I recommend you do is you set 30% tacos. That means if you want to gross $10,000 month 1 on your PPC, spend $3,000 month 1 on the product, 20% month 2, and go down to 11%, hopefully by the end of month 3. I recommend you set up every PPC segmentation, every single one of them. Auto, manual, sponsored product, sponsored brand, video, display ads, all of them, soup to nuts. Let the data tell you what one works. Sponsored products will be the best, almost always, but video, really up and coming. Highly recommend it. Now, we did a very big in-depth PPC guide where I talked about every segmentation type, and I highly recommend you check out that video. And this is the full PPC guide video. So this is the video in question. I just posted the link to it in chat. 39 minutes, 42 seconds, end-to-end, full PPC guide. Talk about launching. One of the products I recently launched is Age of Sage. And this is for a Mother's Day product. Of course, I don't get it to trigger. Nice. I'm going to cheat. Go to Age of Sage. What did I type in? Oh, okay. I missed the S. Nice. Good old Lost Dogs page. So this product, I made $135,000 in 3 weeks, the 3 weeks before Mother's Day. And I spent $11,000, $13,000 on ads, something like that. And I talk about this product all the time in some of my PPC videos to show how I do a launch. There's a second video I'd recommend you watch, and it's got like the Doge thumbnail. I forget what I titled the item, but it's like full reveal. Let's see if I can type in full reveal. That's the one right there. So $50,000 of 50% ACOS. That's how much I spent for the year, not just this particular product. Also recommend watching that one. And why I ran a high ACOS in my vertical. It works for me. It doesn't work in all of them. Agree. We use PPC to build our brand. Yes, PPC definitely makes a difference there. Do you run Amazon PPC just in Amazon advertising platforms, or are you using some tool? We use Ad Badger behind the scenes to do some bid optimization, but really 70% manual efforts by our agency still. So we have to restructure campaigns, got to build out the segmentations. Robots just don't do that work very well. You could use a tool to do that work, but you will pay for it way more expensive to pay for it than to just pay a human to do it still today, in my opinion. But it's, it's good to be supported by some of those programs to help you out if you're at scale, right? So we run 160 accounts at my Amazon guy. There's a lot of accounts to touch, right? And so to get additional touch points on the accounts to make sure we're not wasting any money, we run some Ad Badger campaigns in the background. This is our full Amazon process at the agency. We do an onboarding survey, kickoff call, competitor analysis, account audit. We do manage all catalog, SEO, design, and PPC work to grow traffic, conversion, and sales. Our entire business model, one graphic, right there, boom. And all of those work together. Got to need that whole holistic approach right here. If you do just two of these or just one of these, you will not grow your traffic, conversion, and sales as best as you can. Please let me know if I should run sponsored custom ad. Yes, run everything always. Test it out. If it works for you, great, keep running it. If it doesn't, segment it out. Should we use long tail keywords in broad PPC campaign or use individual keywords? Yes, again, use both. Test them. Separate campaigns. See what works. Turn off what doesn't. Negate the keywords that don't work. Broad match campaigns are getting better performance than exact match right now in many categories. Throws people off, but that's because everybody thought, oh, if I use exact match, I'll spend less. But in reality, the PPC costs have gone up on exact match. So broad match is actually performing better 7 out of 10 times. I created an ASIN targeted campaign. It's not working. It's delivering, but not spending. Should I increase my bidding? Yes, probably. I would also make sure you have that word. We said ASIN targeted. So if you're having a problem with a keyword targeting, make sure it's in the title of your product or the bullet points. But if it's ASIN targeting, that's weird. That one should be very easy to go through. It's probably a bid issue would be my guess. All right. I'm trying to lower my PPC sales versus organic sales to the normal 70-30 ratio. Now it's about 50-50 with ACOS of 17% and TACOS of 9%. Is this normal? It is really hard to answer a question like this without understanding the category, without understanding your profit margin per product and the value prop. But I would say, ACOS is 17%. That looks pretty sexy to me. I would shoot for a TACOS of 11% on average. And you might be underspending based on those numbers. That's my first hot take. But if you're in a category like golf mats, for example, the ACOS might be totally fine at 17% because the competition's low and because the category is underdeveloped. So it just really depends on what category you're in. Is it guaranteed from Amazon will accept my pending trademark for brand registry if I file with you guys? So I don't have a guarantee statement. I pretty much never guarantee anything. But what I can tell you is I've never once had Amazon not accept a trademark unless it had a cuss word in it. So as long as you're not trying to put in some janky word into your trademark, I'm pretty high confidence. So I won't give you your money back if Amazon rejects it because I can't control Amazon. But I will waive $500 off a second trademark if the USPTO rejects it. We do that's how I like to do the backup on the guarantee there. All right, so let's go down the list here. I think we're scrolling down. Oop, I lost my place there. Oh boy, we're scrolling through lots of questions. What is PPC strategy on a new launch listing? We did that one. Creating a new seller essential account for a new brand using new company, bank account, address, etc. Utilities are inclusive in the lease, no utility bill. Will this be a problem in creating the seller essential account? So utilities are included in the lease, no utility bill. If what I would do, Brad, is I would get an invite directly from somebody at Amazon. If you work with us, we can get you that invite. And we'll get you an invite from somebody that will bypass some of the identity verification. If you don't do that, I think your utility bill might get rejected. Potentially, you might have a problem with that. So it might be worth your time and money to do that because it has to have your legal address and name on it. If they're not separated out, you might have a challenge with that one. Why don't I get the new release badge and I'm number one on new release? Boy, that one's a tough one. I don't know. You might want to ticket Amazon and see what they have to say. All right, so we're running low on time. I'm going to do a little bit of a plug. I'm going to go to member questions and wrap up with any member questions. Your Mother's Day gift set works. I hope you purchased it. Hope you were a user of it. That'd be great. And real quick, a plug for our jobs. So we are always hiring at My Amazon Guy. I have some really big growth initiatives. I want to be a $50 million company within 10 years. So big vision, big vision there. To make that happen, we have to 10x, 20x. We got to grow the company a lot, right? So to do that, I need lots of people. I need to hire a lot of people. So if you're interested in working at My Amazon Guy, or you know somebody that is, have them go over to myamazonguy.com/jobs. In here, we have all kinds of remote positions, both domestic and international. And we even have an internship if you're US based and just graduated from college. Amazon specialists, tactical work, Amazon account managers, people that are going to interact with clients, strategically grow the account with them, account directors, graphic designers, all kinds of positions are available. Check it out. We'll put the link into the chat. Appreciate you guys doing that for anybody that would know or refer somebody in. All right, last couple of questions coming in from members. Canonical URL, your Mother's Day set seemed to answer the earlier question. I should have used that as the example. You're totally right. I did use the Canonical URL on the Age of Sage product. I did not on my wine glass products because I got lazy. Do you recommend using the request to review feature, or that backfire and piss off the customer? So here's the problem with review generation. For every 100 people that buy a product from you, one person will leave a review without being prompted. 1%, super small number. If you ask them for a review, you should be able to get that up to 2%. So yes, it's worthwhile to ask them to do the review. You can send them I think the request a review button is more effective than sending an email, just because they've made it so dang hard to fill out the email with anything that will be accepted by terms and conditions. So that's the showbiz on that one. We do not focus on review generation at My Amazon Guy because they've taken away every potential tool. So the way that we generate reviews is we generate sales. Sales generate reviews. Therefore, that's our review generation strategy. It's not inclusive in our core process. Anybody that claims that they can do review gen for you is using black hat tactics. Guaranteed. Unfortunately. Paul Patrick says, thank you, Stephen. You're very welcome. When it comes to product research, can you describe in brief which product you consider to be successful? Make at least $2K in monthly profit? ? So it depends on your goals. This is a variable question. If you know that you'd be happy with 2K in profit, you found your product. But if you would like to have 10K in profit, that's a totally different question. So you gotta write down your goals and work backwards. That's how you answer a variable question like this. Would I launch in the same niche that 20 other people have done the same item, and there's a 10% net profit at the end of the day? I would not. It's a commodity product at that point. Would I launch in a category or a niche where I could make 20,000 in gross sales on a SKU and there's only 2 people there? 100%. I would chase that in a heartbeat. So lots and lots of variables on questions like this. So that is the My Amazon Guy show today. My name is Stephen Pope. I'm the founder of My Amazon Guy. If you want to check us out, you can go over to myamazonguy.com. Anybody watching the replay, if you have additional questions, don't hesitate. Leave a comment on this. Any comment you leave, you like the show today, just leave a comment. Helps me out. It's great. We'll answer all your questions and follow up with you. And with that, I hope you guys have a great weekend. Next week, we're going to have a special show. I believe. Let me just check my calendar here before I hit the end button. Yes, next week we're going to have Jason Mastromateo. He's going to host the show next Friday, and we're going to do what's called an ASIN review. That means Jason is going to do ASIN reviews on the podcast. So get ready, get set, grab your ASIN, and when we post the upcoming video countdown for the Friday show next week, post your ASIN in there. Jason will go top to bottom, prioritizing member questions first, and review your ASINs in real time. So he'll be hosting that show. We'll see you next Friday at noon Eastern Standard Time.